Top 5 for Week 5. We had 4 games, a full schedule. That's exciting in and of itself. And all these matches were pretty exciting. Most of these matches were pretty exciting. Dignitas took on Pittsburgh Knights. Trifecta then played United. On Friday, we saw Dignitas and Splice and Pittsburgh Knights take on Trifecta. Ups and downs, kind of like a roller coaster. Game number 1 was Dignitas versus Pittsburgh, and this was really, really headline. Top team, Dignitas, undefeated. Pittsburgh Knights, also mad good. Might as well be undefeated as far as how well they've been playing. You've got adapting on one side. These guys have played across from each other as well, and the games didn't disappoint. Zeros, game number 1 plays Jormungandr mid. And now, it didn't really do anything, and that's kind of okay. Dignitas across win game number 1, but we didn't see anything out of Jorm. So I sat there on the desk saying, all right, well, it didn't lose the game, so it didn't win the game either. Try again. That's exactly what Pittsburgh Knights do. They grab the Jormungandr a second time, and Irwin couldn't stand still because every single moment, Zeros was behind the back line, knocking players up, getting them in trouble, and just all-out destruction. Really good stuff coming out from Pittsburgh Knights here. Now, the problem was, that's the only game that the Knights really had. You move on to game number 3, and this one was kind of forgettable. Game number 4 was a blitzkrieg. This was a 20-minute, 10,000 gold lead when you looked at what Dignitas was able to do, and it flipped the script. Game number 2 was 60 minutes. Game number 1 was also really close to an hour long. And then Dignitas just go ahead and say, you know what? We've got something to do later. We're going to win the game. They turn up the jets, they go real fast, and they flip the script. They go nuts. My notes for game number 4 are just superlatives at how insane it was. Quick, deadly, and devastating. That's going to be Dignitas in a nutshell. Fun match. Jormungandr mid looks cool, but not good enough to win the set. Pittsburgh Knights lose. Dignitas takes it 3-1. Now, like I said, other matches, but you don't have to listen to me the entire time. I've got Bob Dole to my left.
Hi, Bob Dole here to help you guys out. I'm doing the ins, Tom's doing the outs, so I'll talk a little bit about the second set. That was Trifecta up against United. And yeah, this one was a 3-0. That's probably how you expect that to go. Trifecta haven't figured everything out yet, but a couple of the matches were closer than you might have expected. Game 1 was a slugfest. This one went 40-plus minutes. Benji got the King Arthur, but it actually wasn't all that impressive. I feel bad for poor Ducky, though. They make that dude play against King Arthur more than anybody else I can think of. Trifecta ahead early, but couldn't close it out. Vedium, Ice were able to defend the Titan, stop them from ending the game. Tincture's there, too. They were able to come back and eventually win it. Game number 2, another long game. 43 minutes on that one, but a lot less in doubt. It really felt like United were in control of that game the entire time. Tings got to play Merlin, and we can look good as Robin. It just wasn't good enough. United ended up winning Game 2. Game 3, they finally closed the book, said they're done dealing with Trifecta. That one was 23 minutes, 47 seconds, and sometimes Bendy and Ice just kind of pop. They also got the Jormungandr in the support role. When you pair that up with the Awilix, turns out that combo is pretty good. Trifecta learned that as well. So, yeah, United come out on top. The next set, this is the real big boy set of the week. Splice up against Dignitas. This one was 2-3. Splice did just about everything they could do to win except for securing objectives, and we'll talk plenty about that. Game 1, 24 minutes, 21 seconds. That was all Splice. They ran it from beginning to the end. Divios and Aurora were able to flex that Hades and the Hercules and the Pix and Bands, threw them for a loop. They grabbed Game 1. Game number 2, 40 minutes. This one goes to Dignitas. Devious and Aurora are nowhere near a strong enough front line. They get chewed through by Kivo and the Circuit and by Ataraxia on the Hachiman. Game 3, 28 minutes. That one Splice, up and down. Kabrak and Athena, that's way too much control. They picked on poor little Hurrywind, and I felt bad for him, and they ended up losing that game. At least Dignitas did. Game 4, this one, y'all got to learn to secure the objectives. I don't know how else to say it, man. Moswell had the Kraken. It was right there. If they secure that Fire Giant, then Splice are up. They win the game. They win the set. We're done talking about it. Instead, they end up losing it, and we're going to have to roast my man for a while now. I mean, it's just his job. You got to do it. I think it's that simple. Game 5, this time Splice draft early. I mean Pele Hercules. This time Dig draft late. I'm talking Kali, Yorm, Apollo. So when the game went late, the game went Dignitas' favor. Hard to beat Cuba Fred when he's popping like that. Also, another FG stolen. Well, I guess Splice know what they got to do when they hit the gym. Figure out how to improve those objective secures. That's it for sets 2 and 3. Tom's nearby. He's got set 4.
Hey, it's me, and I'm nearby. We're going to talk about Pittsburgh Knights versus Trifecta, but just for a little bit because that's how long it took for this set to be over. just a little bit. Now, I like how respectful Finch was and just talked about how much Trifecta learned from E United, so I'll try to phrase my commentary in the same way. Game number 1, Trifecta let King Arthur through it. It beat up Ducky, and while it didn't win the game, it certainly looked really good. Game number 2, Trifecta let King Arthur through, and while it didn't win the game, it certainly did well. And then game number 3, I mean, at this point, it was just really rough. Emilzi's making these Hollywood plays, and for the other side, Trifecta did wind up stretching some of these games out, but Pittsburgh Knights just blamed themselves. They said, quote, "We didn't take it seriously enough." Maybe, quote, "having too much fun." So that kind of speaks for itself. Trifecta have a lot to learn on a serious note. Weekend is a bright point on this squad. Lasper still very clearly learning the mid lane as well. So if you want to take something actual tangible home from this about the red, white, and blue, really it's about Weekend trying to understand how this team fits around him. We get it. He's playing well, and he can find those kills early, mid, late game. It's a little bit of an issue. But is it Weekend's job to fit with the team's job to fit with Weekend? At the end of the day, if you're the veteran, I think it's Weekend's job to sort of make everything fall into place. Lasper looking all right. Ionic's a vet in his own time, but it's going to have to really warm up. Trifecta, essentially the headline, the thesis, the real take-home from this, getting there, but maybe in a few months. It's going to be an uphill battle. That's it, and see ya.